All right, next question, please.
Will we know each other or our loved ones when we return? You must mean when the return.
Okay. 1 Corinthians has one here that fits very good. First Corinthians chapter 13. We use this in the foundational class, you may remember. Verse 12. For now we see through a what? Glass darkly, but then when Christ returns we shall see how? Now I know in part, but then shall I know, even as also I am what? Known. When Jesus Christ was resurrected from the dead and his apostles saw him, did they know him? Right. I have no doubt we shall know each other. And if I can explain it without trying, I'm not trying to be facetious, but I got to get you just to think it through logically. If a little old sperm and egg can get together and you and I can love each other as much as we do today and know each other, is it impossible for God to make the same great reality true in the gathering together? I don't think there's any question about it. Because if we can know each other like we know each other now, certainly in the gathering together, where we'll all be one in him and know as he knows us, I have no doubt about it. Next question.
In John chapter 21, verses 15 through 17, when
Hold it a minute. John what?
21, 15 through 17.
Okay, let's get that. Here's where I needed my Greek text, but maybe somebody will know this. Okay, go on.
When Jesus is asking Peter if he loved him, two different Greek words are used for love. Please explain the significance of each usage.
John 21, what verse, Ken?
15 through 17.
All right. So when they had dined, verse 15, John 21. So when they had dined, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest, I think is agapeo, thou me more than these? And he saith unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I phileo thee. He saith unto him, Feed my lambs. Verse 16. He saith to him again the second time, Simon, son of Jonas, agapeo, I believe is right, thou me? He saith unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I phileo thee. He saith unto him, Feed my sheep. 17. He saith unto him the third time, Simon, son of Jonas, phileo thou me? And Peter was grieved because he said unto him the third time, phileo thou me? And he saith unto him, Lord, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I, and that one I don't remember, is phileo thee. Jesus saith unto him, Feed my sheep. Agapeo is the love of God in the renewed mind in manifestation. Phileo is just love like you have brotherly love. Jesus really started out with the greatest thing. He said to Peter, have you really got the greatness of this? And Peter said, Nope, I'm still down here on phileo trip. And then Jesus brings it down to the level of Peter. It's fantastic. He says, well, if you even phileo, then you feed my female lambs. And then finally he says, even in that type of relationship, you feed my adult sheep. This is the reason for its usage. Agapeo is the love of God in the renewed mind, which is the highest a man can go. But a man, as a believer, doing less than that love of God in the renewed mind still could walk with phileo love. I think the greatness, of course, is in the end of these tremendous chapters, where that first one at the end of verse 15 should read, feed my male lambs. End of verse 16 should read, feed my female lambs. And the end of verse 17 would read, feed my sheep. Because there are three categories involved. The male lambs, the female lambs, and when they're a year old, they are no longer considered lambs, then they're sheep. So what God wanted, Jesus Christ wanted Peter to do is take care of the little boys and the little girls and take care of all the adults. His male, lambs, female, and all the sheep, the adults. All right, thank you. Next question.
Philippians 2:7.
Hold it a minute. Ephesians, Philippians 2. Chapter 2, verse 7. Okay.
Says that Jesus made himself of no reputation. I know the made himself must be a figure of speech because Jesus didn't exist before he was born to Mary. Please explain this verse.
This one, again, I believe is done much more accurately in translation in the American Standard. Philippians 2:7. Philippians 2:7. King James says, but made himself of no reputation. Revised says, but emptied himself, taking the form of a servant, being made in the likeness of men. Divested himself, emptied himself. Now, I forgot what the question was. I was more concerned about the accuracy of text here.
I know the made himself must be a figure of speech because Jesus didn't exist before he was born to Mary.
And what's the question? And what does it mean?
I just wants to explain the verse.
Yeah. Jesus Christ was God's only begotten Son, right? He could have walked off the cross the last minute if he'd have wanted to, but he so loved that he laid down his life. He emptied himself. He became a servant of all servants. He wouldn't have had to. He was God's only begotten one. That's all that verse means. Beautiful. That's all it means. Jesus Christ, being God's only begotten Son, just emptied himself. And he took upon himself willfully the form of being a servant to all people, a servant of servants, and was made in the likeness of men because he was a servant. The Scripture says he was tempted in all things like as we are, yet without what? Sin. That's all there is.
The only, I think, perhaps he means two words, made himself, as opposed to Jesus coming from Mary. You know, that he's saying that Jesus made himself. You know, he made himself.
Oh. No, that he didn't. I guess what they mean by self-made man then, huh? Jan, what were you going to say? In the question. No, it doesn't in the Scripture. Okay, let's do the next question.
What does it mean to be baptized in the name of the Lord as used in Acts 10, verse 48?
Acts 10, what?
48.
Yeah, well, this is that section where we're convinced that he never did baptize them in water, first of all, right? So the question doesn't deal with water. The question deals, what does it mean to be baptized in the name of the Lord? That's the question, right?